So PA in your pocket is about helping us all to capture connections, opportunity and call to action. I think we've all been in a scenario where we're meeting people, we're furiously writing notes, we then get to the end of the day and we can't remember who we spoke to, we can't read our own writing, and more often than not those follow-ups don't happen because we haven't captured them effectively. So PA in your pocket is about helping us all to capture them effectively, to make sure that we've got the information we want, where we want it, when we need it. So that's the design around PA in your pocket. It's designed to work on your mobile, on your laptop or your desktop, so that it's a similar, familiar experience, whatever you do. And it's about removing the friction from that process, whether you're capturing connections for building business relationships, sales leads, whatever it is that you're having conversations with people about, it's about removing the friction and making that easier. So I'm going to share my screen and I will give you an overview. There we go. You should be all able to see that. Okay, so we are starting on, this is the main connection and introduction screen, which is sort of the community area. This is where everybody is who's on the platform. As you can see, we've got quite a few on there. And to navigate around PA in your pocket, you've got a couple of options. You've got the main menu, which can take you through to all the different features and functions that we've got in the platform. And then you've got your navigation bar at the end, which is like your shortcuts. So this one is here is your profile management. We'll go into in a second. You've got your connection and introduction screen, which is what we're looking at now. Then you've got your incoming connections, and then you've got your QR code scanner. So if we go into profiles, some of you have got profiles already, some of you haven't, depends where you are on it. This is where you can see what people are looking at about you. This is what your profile looks like when people are viewing you. So you've got your standard stuff. You've got, you know, who you are. Then you've got your website that can be clicked through to, and your phone number and your email, and a bit about the business. But you can also then put in your business categories, what you're interested in, and also a bit about yourself if you want to, because it just adds a bit of depth to who you are. You know, but the important thing is that it's all very compact, it's simple, it's easy to consume, it's in one place. And then, you know, the key thing here as well is that you've got your click-throughs to your social medias. So people haven't got to go find you. You know that people can click straight through to your LinkedIn, your Facebook, Twitter. I haven't got Instagram on here at the moment, but it's just having it all in one place that's easy for people to use. You've also, for every single profile that you have, you've got a QR code. That QR code can be scanned by people who are on the platform, but also not on the platform. So, you know, we've, again, deliberately designed it to help you build connections regardless of people being on the platform or not. Obviously, if they're on the platform, all the better. But if someone scans your QR code and they're using PA in your pocket, that instigates a connection between you. So that's as much as that needs to happen. And that can work in person, or it can also work like we are now. You can scan it and that will work and instigate a connection. If someone's not on the platform, it will take them through to the registration page, and then when they register, they will then get a connection request from you. So whether they're on the platform or not, it can still create and generate that connection so that you're not losing that opportunity. To edit your profile, you go into your manage profile section, and many of you will know or not know, but you can have multiple profiles. So, you know, we wear lots and lots of different hats sometimes, and every conversation we have, we want to be able to connect with the one that's the most appropriate for that conversation. And we don't want to confuse our customers or people we're talking to. So you can go into your edit profile section, and this is, you know, as you would expect, you can edit the information about yourself, about your business, about your business. On my internet's going a bit slow. And then you go into your picture. Now, you know, not everyone likes their picture on their profiles, but it does make you recognizable. You know, people do tend to recognize faces and remember faces more than names. And then you've got all your social medias. Now, this wasn't an intention, but an offshoot of this is I find this so handy just to nip into, because when you go into sites and whatever and they want your social media links, I know I've got one place to go where they're all listed. I've not got to try and remember them everywhere. Then you've got your business categories. So you can go in and just select what business categories you want that people can then see that you're interested in. The next part of your profile setup is your profile settings. So these are where you get to choose how much people can see of your profile, when they can see it, and whether you want your profile visible at all yet or not. So profile visibility and privacy, we're very conscious of the fact that some people want all of their information in the public domain because they want people to reach out and connect with them. Other people actually, they don't want to be flooded with invitations to connect, or people just contacted them unsolicited. So we've deliberately done it so that you can choose which is most appropriate for you. And it's worth at this point saying that PA in your pocket we've designed with the intention of making connections with purpose and connections that you want to follow up with. There's no number on here showing you how many connections you've got and how many connections the person next door to you have got. You know, there's no numbers around how many people are engaging, or you've got a score about how well you're engaging. It's about helping you engage and connect with purpose so you can follow up on that business opportunity. So profile visibility, you've got 4 options. One is public, which means that anyone can click on your profile regardless of whether or not you're connected, and they can see all your information, and that's fine. You could, that's what you can have it set to, which I have. I will change that actually. And then the next one is headline. So headline means that all the people can see of you is that little strip that says your name, where you work, what you do, and your website. And that's as much as they can see unless they're connected with you. Otherwise, they won't see you. My internet's running really slow. The next one here is private. So private means that you're on the platform, you're there, but you're not showing in the community page. You're not showing in the connection introduction page, but you can be found. So if you're chatting to someone, you might say, oh yeah, you can find me, just put my name in. So you choose who then obviously can find you because they need your name. The very last one is hidden. Now, this is where you're not on the community page, you're not showing in any searches, so people literally can't send you connection requests, but you can send them outbound. So if you may be going somewhere where you think I may well get flooded or bombarded with connection requests, or you just in that position where you just don't want to be, you can still instigate connections on your terms with who you want to connect with, but you can't then receive inbound because people can't find you. So we've tried to make sure that people can choose a level of visibility that works for them. Allow introductions, that's sort of very straightforward. Do you want people to introduce you via the platform? Yes or no? And if no, then obviously you won't get those introductions. Profile type and status. So PA in your pocket is primarily designed for business people or for business connections. Having said that, we have people who want to use it for personal use because actually they do want all their social medias in one place. So you can choose and say whether your profile is a business one or a personal one. So that we know, you know what you've got it set up for. And here's where you can say, actually, I just want to set it as a draft. I don't want to publish it yet. So, you may just want to take it or just take it off the radar. You just want to save it as a draft, work on it later, whatever, until you change it to ready to publish, it won't be visible. So again, you can choose. The very last setting on your profile is about this actually affects your whole user on PA in your pocket, is what your preferred loading page is. So the default loading page is the connect and introduce screen, which is the community page where everybody is listed. But not everyone will want that necessarily and have that preference. So the alternative is to have it set to your connections page, which means that whenever you load it up, it will literally just load up with your existing connections. So you've got, they're the only ones you're going to see, unless you specifically go and check and say, I want to go into, you click on that icon to go into the community page. So you've got options as to even how you view when you load up PA in your pocket. So they're the main profile settings. Again, we're trying to keep it simple, but enough level of detail and information that makes it work for everybody. So if we now go back to our profile view, eventually, you can then from there, again, any changes, you can then see them that they're visible. And then you can continue to edit or not. And my internet is going incredibly slowly this morning. There we are. Okay, so you can go back to start connecting, but then just very quickly before we move on, what you've also got for every profile, because if you've got every profile you build is completely independent. They don't cross over. They're just under you as a user, but you can have multiples of them. So every profile you have gets a URL. Now that URL can be copied. And when you copy that URL, that means you can embed it into graphics, into an email, into words, whatever you want to embed it into. And you can share that with anybody. And they can be on the platform. They don't have to be on the platform. But when they view that, they get a view of your profile, which should come up any second. And that they'll just get that's almost like a digital business card that you can share with anyone, whether they're on the platform or not. And again, they can still click through to all your social medias, and they can still, see all your information, and you can share that with anybody. So going back to here, if we move into the connect and introduce screen, which is the community screen, it's where everybody is, it's where all the action takes place. Then we'll go through how you can connect with people, introduce people, and then we'll go into and receiving invitations as well when it catches up. Okay, it doesn't want to play ball at the moment. There we go. Okay, so this is the community page, and this is where everything happens. This is where things take place. And as you can see, there's lots and lots of people on here already. Apologies, this is not going very, very well with the speed of my internet, which is a bit of a concern. Okay, so whilst we're waiting for my machine to catch up, my internet to catch up with what I'm doing, when on the connect and introduce screen, you can see people's headline information. Okay, and from there you can click on people's profiles and you can see information about them depending on what they set up as their visibility and privacy. You can reach out and connect with them. This is where all the activity takes place. So it literally doesn't want to load. Oh, it's time to move. Okay. So starting at the top here, I'm going to just change that to that. This is where you can select your different profiles. So again, because your profiles are completely separate, you can choose to connect with people on one profile or the other, depends on what your preference is or what the conversation is you're having. And then you can move down to the section here where you can do searches. So you can search by someone's username if you know it, or their name, company name, and you can sort everything out by the profile company name or their name. So that sounds incredibly, incredibly slow. And just for reference, I'm actually hardwired into my internet, so I'm not quite sure if Virgin Media have got an issue because it's not quite sure what's going on there. If anyone from Virgin Media is on here, can you please sort it out? Okay. So I'll start talking to you about the icons that are on here. So you've got different sets of icons on here that allow you to see what your connection status is with a certain person. So the first one is that you're not connected with somebody, so you've got no connection in place, and then you've got the plus sign. So that means that you can then go in and add them and send a connection request to them. You've then got outbound, which means you sent a request to somebody, you're just waiting for them to respond, to accept it or reject it, whatever they want to do. You've then got your I'm already connected to somebody, so this is your share icon, which means that then you can make introductions, assuming they're allowing you to make introductions, that you can make introductions for them on their behalf. And then the final one is inbound. So you can see here I've got an inbound request from Tony, and so that I know I can action that and go and view his information. Okay, so my screen is still refreshing. So Gary, you're currently Claudia as my screen is refreshing. So sorry about that. There we go. Okay. So going back to viewing people's profiles, you can click on their information here. And Gary, I know you're on, so I'll click on you. And you can see about that person eventually. Technology. Wow. Okay, so you'll be able to see their profile picture come up, and from there you can again still make introductions and see their information. If you're not connected to them, it will depend on their visibility settings as to whether you can view everything or not. If you're not connected with them and they've set their privacy settings to private or headline, sorry, if it's the headline, all you will be, it will just give you a message to say you need to connect with this person before you can see their information. There we are, Gary. There you go. Better late than never. Okay, so that's Gary's profile, very complete profile. I can see it all there. I can click through to all his social medias, and then I can make an introduction for Gary because we're already connected. Okay, so moving on to adding somebody. If I go down to, so Jane, I'm not connected with Jane. I can click on Jane, which is probably not a good idea at the moment. And I can see Jane's information. I go, okay, yeah, I had a chat with Jane at a meeting, and I do want to connect with Jane. So I'm gonna, I might connect with Jane. So I can go in and I can actually do it from either of those screens. And I can say, hi Jane, let's talk about growth. Great to meet you. Etc. I won't carry on because obviously we're wasting time with the internet. And then you can send that out. So what that will do, that will send that information to Jane and to myself. We've both got it in our inbox. We've both got a call to action. So, if I say, let's set a call up, there's not been a piece of paper used. There's not been any writing down. There's no chance of it being forgotten or dropping off the radar because it's in both of our inboxes. We've got it there to follow up. If it's integrated with the CRM, it's in the CRM, so that, again, it's, if you're someone who's using it for sales pipeline, it's in the sales pipeline, it's been captured, so it's not going to get forgotten or missed. The next part of this, which is very important, is something I guess I hope everyone can resonate with, is that when you have a connection with somebody and you go to see them after some time, and you're like, right, okay, where did I meet them? Who are they? In the sense of, what can I remember about them? So the next part, when you send an invitation request, is to put in a memorable note. So you are prompted to say, right, now add a memorable note. So this is only for me, only for my eyes, as the owner of this, the instigator of this connection. And I can put in, Jane's got 2 children, likes to skydive, and has milk and 2 sugars in her tea. So the next time I'm having a conversation, or I'm going to be going to meet Jane, I can then say, hi Jane, how are the children? How are the dogs? Have you been skydiving lately? It's enabling you to then put some colour and depth to the relationships at that first mile of that journey, so that you've always got that reminder there. You don't have to put a memorable note in, but I know, I think that's quite important for building relationships. So that's now gone. We've both now got that in our inboxes. It's not to be forgotten. Okay. You've then got people who are not yet on PA in your pocket. So, and obviously, not everyone's going to be on PA in your pocket. And this is what I'm using a lot now when I'm networking, and I literally have it on my screen, down beside my screen. And I can say, right, okay, yeah, love to connect with you. Right, give me your email address. So I'll put an email address, put in the message, and say, great to connect with you at the recent networking event. Let's get a date in the diary and do a follow up and connect. What that then does is literally sends that email to both the person and myself. Again, we've both got it in our inboxes. It's not going to get forgotten or missed. I haven't got to try and work out what my handwriting said. It's done, and I can move on. So even if they're not on the platform and using PA in your pocket, you can still capture that connection with call to action and context, so you don't miss out on the follow up. Going through to receiving invitations. So you've got your incoming requests. This is where all your invitations are listed, whether they're invitations or introductions. So I can see I've got an invitation from Fred. I can see what Fred says. Okay, great. We met at a networking event, would like to explore partnerships. Brilliant. Okay, good. I can have a look at Fred, you know, who's he working for? I can go through his website. I can click through to his social medias and choose whether I'm going to accept or reject. And then I can do that again from either screen. So once that's done, again, we're both going to get that email to say, you're now connected with Fred. And then that's it, you know, the PA in your pocket is saying, right, good, now go and have the conversation, go and do what it is you do, selling or whatever it is you're doing, to build that and take that relationship forward. And then we'll move on to introductions. So introductions in business are key. You know, I think it's 30% of introductions convert more than sort of cold leads. So I can say, right, okay, I'm going to introduce Alexandra to whoever comes up on my list. Now, whoever comes up on your list are the people you are connected to already. It will tell you if Alexandra is already connected to somebody. So you're not going to double introduce people to people they're already connected with. That's not going to happen because you'll know it won't let you do that. But I've always found introductions quite clunky, and rather than me going, oh, meet Alexandra, she does this, meet Alexandra, meet John, he does that, and then I'm suddenly in a three-way conversation, actually what I want to be able to do is go, hi Alexandra, you know, Alexandra and Simon, think there's a really good overlap in your businesses, probably worth you having a conversation. All the best, Sonia. Make that introduction, it's gone. They're both going to get an email to say that introduction has happened. I get an email as well to say I've made the introduction, so that if you're someone who likes to track introduction and needs to, you've got that there as just that audit trail. But now it's up to Alexandra and Simon whether they take that relationship forward, connect, whatever else there is they want to do there. So that's about making introduction and making it easy and quick to make the introductions. You haven't got to do loads of sort of context or anything around it. You can just put in there about you think they should have a conversation, and they can take it forward how they want to. So that's the main screens and activity screens there. I'll just wait for that to catch up, freshen up. We may run a couple of minutes over, but I do appreciate it if people need to leave. That's absolutely fine. I'll send a recording out. We're actually going faster than the internet, so. And we're coming back slowly. So the next area I was going to show you is just the main menu, what we haven't covered already. So we've got our connect and introduce and our connections, and then we can go down to, is it now loaded fully? Yeah, so my connections. So my connections is, again, the alternative landing page for you, and you can just see everyone you're connected with, and you know, you can review your memorable notes, you can click on their information, and you can make introductions from there as well. So that's another alternative for your connections, and you can filter them by pending, by declined, and whatever else you want to. Okay, so I've got pending out there with lots of people, and that updates as you go scroll down, and you can see the declines as well, who you've declined, any introductions you've got and any declines you've got. So that's just an alternative screen, and where you go to find your memorable notes, but also where you go if you've got introductory notes as well, because that's the other thing. If you've been introduced to someone and you just want to check why you was introduced, you can find it in there after the event. We've then got, you can add, you can view your profiles, which you've seen, you can add a new profile, send us feedback. And then the next bit is about activity reporting. So as we've already talked about, every time you make a connection, you'll get an email, but what you also get overnight is an aggregation of all your activity. So you've had a busy day, whatever it is, you know, you need one list that says, these are all the people you connected with today. This was the call to action. These are their socials. So that becomes your go-to, this is everything I need to follow up based on what I did yesterday. But sometimes you want to do it sooner than the next morning. So in here, I can go into here and say, right, send me an activity report right now, and it will send you an activity report of what you've done today, everyone you've connected with, with their information, the call to action, so that you can then get on with the follow-up. Alternatively, you can export activity as a CSV file. So if you may want to do it for 1 day, a month, whatever it is, a certain period of time, you can send yourself a CSV file of all your activity, which means that you can manipulate that data. You can take it into another system if you want to, so a comma delimited file, and you can use that however it is that works for you. So you can trigger activity reports in 2 ways. And if we get rid of that. And then we've got a couple of other bits that are not quite live soon, but if anyone wants to know more about the event side, then please do let me know. And then the final one along the bottom screen here is your QR code scanner. Obviously, I won't activate it because I'm using the camera, but that enables you to scan somebody else's QR code, as we saw earlier, and that will instigate a connection. So again, you can do that very, very easily, and trigger a connection, whether you're using your mobile, whether you're in person, whatever it is. So those are the main functions and features of the PA in your pocket. I can unmute you, or you can unmute yourself. We've got a few minutes, happy for people to hang around if they've got more questions or want to have a chat about it. So please do, if anyone has got any questions, unmute and go for it.
I've got a query. I did just text a quick message to you. I've sent out sort of 70 invitations. I know when we were trying to win the camper. Where can I see where the list of those invites, or would I have to export an activity report to see?
No, if you've sent an invitation out to somebody who's not on the platform, the only record of that is that email. The reason being is that you could be sending emails out to people who haven't given you approval to, or haven't given us as a business approval to store their data under GDPR. Yeah. So the only record of that will be that email has been sent. There's no track of it anywhere in the system. That's it. It's purely from making sure the data is secure and safe.
I don't think I kept them. I was thinking they'd all be sitting there showing as invitations that I've sent out, but yes, I can appreciate that now. It's all right. I remember getting to B.
Just crack on with the C to Z. That's fine.
Exactly.
No problem.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, Sonia, on profiling? Because when I set mine up, I'm new to Grapevine and this platform. It's completely, and so when I set it up, I didn't name my first profile, so it's just called Profile 1, and it says underneath you can't change it. So do I need to delete that profile and reset up again if I want to get that correct?
No, because your profile name is not actually shared with anyone. It's just for your reference.
Okay. And is there a reason why you can't amend it?
Because from a back end perspective, and everything's built around profiles, at some point in the future, it may well be that we allow editing of profiles, but just the complexity and the impact of changing it is quite complicated at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Sonia, I have a couple of questions, Gaz. The first one, when you said about the URL that you can send to people, you said that you have your own URL, and when you showed us yours, it was quite lengthy, I guess. Is there a way of personalizing that at all? So
that's interesting.
Almost a short version.
Yeah, I'm looking into that at the moment. We're trying to make that so that you can have it as to something that for your preference. But yeah, absolutely, Gaz, that's something that literally is on the list of things that I'm looking at right now.
Brilliant. And my second question is, I work a lot with sales teams, as you know. How will this work with a sales team? So I can imagine when I'm speaking to my clients who are sales directors or managing directors, and I say, look, it'd be really good if your sales team had this, and used this. I can imagine them coming back to me and saying, yeah, but how do we police that?
Yeah.
So a bit like LinkedIn, in terms of on LinkedIn, there's visibility, etc. How would it work with sales teams? Go on.
That's a really, really good question, Gaz. So at the moment, what it's designed for is individual users. The next part of it is events, but also the business side. So that's very much part of our broader picture and development roadmap, is that as individuals, you can use it for free. As you all know, it's free to use. But then the next level is a business user, where actually a business pays to have their sales team using it, they get the integration with the CRM, they're getting that helicopter view of the activity that's going on. So all of that sales intelligence is definitely being captured within the business.
Great.
That's the other thing, because like the LinkedIn thing, that's still a one-to-one personal connection. It's not a business. So there's a sales intelligence leakage risk there for businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm happy if you want any input from myself with that, then I'm really happy to support you in that, Sonia.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Gaz. That's really appreciate that. Thank you. Any other questions?
So, Sonia?
Yes.
You're talking about events and things coming soon. Can you give us a flavour for what it might be?
Yeah, so what we're doing is, because our vision, our broader vision is about the business ecosystem and how it's very disconnected right now. And we see Grapevine and PA in Your Pockets, the Grapevine as the platform, is connecting the dots of that. So the next part of the proposition, the Grapevine platform, is to be able to publish an event. So by publishing an event on here, there is an events directory. People can go and say, oh yeah, I'm going to that event. Yeah, click that, I'm going to go to that. And it's got all the information about the event on it, how to register. And then what that does is they're using PA in Your Pocket. So it's a platform that they're familiar with, a tool they're familiar with, which means that they can go into the event and they can see who's listed. They can start saying, oh, okay, so Jonathan's going to that, great. But I'm not actually connected with Jonathan. I'm going to connect with you because, Jonathan, I do want to pick up with you. And it starts to help to connect the dots between connecting with people and events. And if you're an event, and so the next part of that is to say, right, Jonathan, you went to this networking event, and the connections you made, every connection you make when you're there will add a layer of context. It would have a layer that says, Jonathan, you met them at this event. So you haven't even got to then type that in. It automatically captures in your memorable note where you met them, so that you've got that as a point of reference as well. And if you're someone who organises events, it enables you to then start to proactively reach out and connect with people and build those connections pre-event, during the event and post-event. And also then, getting more analytics and insight around events, because as an event organiser, you can see how many people arrive, but you can't really track and measure very well the engagement that goes on. So that's the other piece. I've organised an event and there's 100 people there. That's as much as I can say right now. The vibe felt quite good, but what Grapevine Events does is says, yeah, this event took place and actually there was 100 people, but there was 250 connections made. Not who connected with who, but you start to get a bit more insight around the analytics and that's going on, because we want to know that what we're doing is adding value. We want to know that we're getting the return on investment for what we're organising and what we're doing as well. So that's where the events piece then hooks into this to make it more engaging for users, easier for users, and then delivering more return on investment for event organisers.
Right. Thank you.
Any other questions? I'll stop sharing my screen so you can any more. Okay, great. Well, thanks ever so much for your patience, everyone, because my internet has not played ball with me this morning, but I hope you found that useful. Any questions at all, please do reach out. I will share a link to this, but I may well re-record another one at some point with better internet connection so that it flows a bit better for everyone. But I do appreciate your time. I do appreciate everyone's support. It's so gratefully received, and I wish you all a really good day.